used for something.
Yeah, I can't imagine having that feature and then defeating it.
Well, because they didn't want to run the hoses. It's a pain in the ass, especially going forward. They probably didn't know how to run them.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Oh, for the air conditioning, right.
Mm-hmm.
So you got these through halls, basically underwater. You got that one underwater, the galley sink drain. You got that one there, and then two back there.
Right. Okay.
Oh, and then you got the giant 2.5-inch one, and then the aftermarket install cockpit drain.
Yeah. That has a
It
valve?
has a valve on it.
Okay.
It's fairly new. So that's not original.
But where the water is, the
water is
equilibrium.
probably about right here.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you shut that off, the cockpits won't drain. But this is like a rain gutter. It just drops right in there. Open hose. If you pour water in here,
Yeah.
and reach in here, you can feel the water dropping down.
Yeah, but if you got a huge amount of rain into the cockpit, which you could in the tropics, right? It could fill up that stack, and
Nope.
if you shut that.
Oh, if you shut it, yes.
Yeah, so
You don't want to shut that.
don't shut it, right? That's what I would imagine.
Now, if you had all the curtains up and the vinyls down and all that, then you could probably shut it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Where do I begin? Let me begin in the beginning. We had a smaller fuel filters there. This is actually good.
Yeah.
They've upgraded them. And we had fuel filter 1, this is what we called it, and fuel filter 2. Fuel filter 1 worked on tank 1. The two were joined. Simple. And fed the engine. Fuel filter 2 worked with both of the aft tanks. Until, I think to a certain extent this is still the way. Fuel filter 2 worked on the two aft tanks. But then which tank do you use through filter 2? That's what we came up with this secondary panel here. So this comes off the starboard tank. Remember, diesel engine returns 1/3 of the fuel.
Yeah.
So you need a pickup from the tank and a return to the tank. And this is the port side. So if you're using the two back tanks, you'd be using filter 2, and then depending how you throw these valves, the port or starboard tank. Now looking at this, on the tanks in the back, these valves are in line. This is open on starboard. The port tank is closed. The levers are 90 degrees to the body.
Yeah.
Okay?
What is the 18 and 10?
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
We didn't
Alright.
put that on there.
Okay.
Tom Slays did. This kind of looks complicated, but once you figure it out, it's not. And I haven't quite figured it out yet. But that's how the original setup was. We didn't have an auxiliary fuel pump, which is good that you do. We didn't have vacuum gauges, which is good you do.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did they change? Actually, there's two fuel vacuum gauges.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a pressure gauge. This is a vacuum gauge. Pressure gauge and vacuum gauges are the opposite. So, this is interesting. So now they've got an auxiliary fuel pump.
Oh, would you?
Say
Jeez.
again?
I don't know. I mean, would you pump it into a
You might be pumping.
jerry can or something crazy? Or?
Yep. Maybe he wants to
Okay.
see, he tests the fuel. He wants to see how clean it is.
Okay.
So he'll turn that pump on, open these two valves. close these two valves, and then he could pump the fuel right into a can.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never seen that before. But why not if you're plumbing everything? So I concurred that right now, based on these levers, we're running off the starboard tank, and we're probably running off this filter. Now, that's the way we set it up. It could be this filter, and actually I think it is. So I watched the filter while the engine was running.
Yeah.
I could see the flow. So, right now this auxiliary electric fuel pump is out of the system. How do I know that? This valve is closed.
Right.
And that's the in. So it's sucking fuel through from the tanks. Whatever
Right.
tank you pick, that's the out.
Right.
Discharging fuel.
Right. If it's not sucking in, it's not.
Nope, it's
blowing out.
offline. He's turned this off,
Right.
and on the out, that's off. This is on. Yeah, but in, he's not letting any fuel go to the pump right now because this lever's off.
Yeah.
Now this filter is in line because this lever is open.
Mm-hmm.
That's the in or the out.
But
That's the out.
okay.
I can see it says in right here. So
Yeah, but one of the intake down here, that one, that valve is shut.
we'll get to that in a moment, I think.
Oh, okay. Above
Yeah.
it, is it? Okay, never mind.
Above it is open.
Yeah, I got you.
And this says
There's a T there. Okay.
main tank. Main. So I think that's coming. That's the pickup from the main tank. That's off. Now remember, the pickup on the top of the tank was off.
Yeah.
So that's off. So that main tank is shut off from the system, both down there and right there.
And that's what you call number 3?
Number 1.
Oops, number 1.
That's what I call it. Now, there's some instructions with numbers with all these valves.
Yeah.
And we're going to look at that in a moment. But I call that fuel tank 1, fuel tank 2, fuel tank 3.
Okay.
Apparently they're talking, that's the main tank and port and starboard. Which
Yeah.
is another, probably
Okay.
a simpler way to think about it, or easier to
Yeah.
remember. So that's going in. This is open. And then this says auxiliary out. And this says main in. And this says auxiliary in. Little tags right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Here it says forward and mid. That's the water tanks.
Mm-hmm. Right, right.
Okay. Closed when not using main tank. Closed when not using auxiliary tanks. It's a little stickers here.
Yeah.
Closed when not using main tank. That's closed.
Mm-hmm.
Closed when not using auxiliary tanks.
Which should be open.
That's 14 is open, which is auxiliary out, and that's auxiliary in, which is open. So these two are open.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got open to use vacuum gauge, closed to work on gauge. Open to use generator and engine self-contained, closed to use auxiliary fuel pump. Open to use auxiliary pump, close when gen and engine are self-contained. Okay. You put the filters changed at 2448. That was changed 2258. Okay. Starboard out, starboard in. Port out, port in. Auxiliary pump, auxiliary bilge pump, overdrive. Oh, auxiliary bilge pump. So he just threw the bilge pump. You hear something?
No.
I hear it.
You do?
Mm-hmm. Listen.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I hear it in here.
That's
for
he
sure.
put in another submersible pump in here somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, it sounds like it's coming right under the transmission, almost.
And it's probably got a float switch, so it's automatic. But if you want to manually turn it on, you can from here.
Mm.
Capture. Okay, back to the fuel. So don't auxiliary bilge pump. He just happened to put it here.
Yeah.
Now this switch is for that pump, fuel pump. So if you want to operate the fuel pump to bleed the system, you would use that, but then you got to turn certain valves.
Yeah, right.
Now, I noticed this diagram. This is almost chicken scratch. I don't know who designed this. But it gives you a lot of versatility, and I think once you learn it, it'll be... Okay, what I'm looking for is this. I can send you this. One of the things with Dean, I'm going to say Dean, one of the things, you saw this boat, Staten. Staten's going to be on the boat, and you're going to talk to Staten on the phone and talk him through this.
Yeah.
So here